Hey gang, it is Platt here, and today we're continuing on our wine series. We're going to talk about a red wine grape today that you might not know, but you need to know. And that is Grenache, or as they call it in Spain, Garnacha. Grenache is one of the most planted red wine grapes in the world. Actually, up to about 20 or so years ago, it was in the top 2 or 3 planted red wine grapes in the world. Now it's down to around 7th or so. It's been replaced in some areas by Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Tempranillo, but it's still a very important grape in the process. Its origin is believed to be in the Aragon region of northern Spain. In the Middle Ages, it is believed the Kingdom of Aragon took the grape with it when it was out conquering different territories, and it took it to southern France, Sardinia, southern Italy, where the grape became an integral part of their local wine industries. Later on in history, this grape made it out to Australia in the mid-1800s, where it became a very important part of their wine industry, and for a long time was the most planted red grape there until about the 1960s when Shiraz ended up taking over. Still an important player today in Australia. They use it to produce a wine they refer to as GSM, and that stands for the grapes in the blend. Grenache, Shiraz, and Mourvedre. Here in the U.S., it played an important part in the start of the Washington State wine industry. It was one of the first grapes to take off around 1966 in the Yakima Valley. It's still planted there today, even though other grapes like Pinot Noir have kind of taken over up there in Washington. Grenache does real well in hot, dry soils, and that's why it grows in areas like Spain, Australia, even grows in like Mexico and Texas and Chile. So it does great in those hotter climates. It can be a varietal. You will find some examples of that, especially the Garnachas from Spain, but it is generally used as a blend. Probably the most popular blend you'll see it in is the Chateauneuf de Pape, which is a classic red wine from the Rhone region. Grenache, the grape itself, tends to be high in sugar, which makes it great for the use in fortified wines, which they do in Australia. And it also helps produce a high alcohol wine. Grenaches can hit 15-16% ABV. As far as tasting notes, you're going to get a little spice on the note or on the palate. You're also going to get your softer berries, strawberries, raspberries. This wine also tends to be a soft wine as far as body viscosity on your palate, which depending on your point of view can be a good thing. The wines Grenache produces, though, tend to be low in tannins, low in acid, and tend to fade color-wise. And that's probably why this grape is probably better off as a blending grape. You know, if you have an acidic wine, this is something that can balance it out. If you have a grape that's high in tannins, again, balance. You want a little more sugar, this is the grape for you. So, again, not necessarily standalone, but its unique qualities probably make it a real great blending wine. It's also used, I brought up earlier how it's used for ice wine in Australia. It's also used in the production of rosé wines in France and Spain. That's another important part about this grape. It can be used in several varieties of wine. As far as food pairings, we're going to pair these things with like beef stew, wild game, and your less spicy Asian dishes. You don't want to use high alcohol wines with your spicier dishes, but the less spicy Asian dishes this works well with. The particular one we're going to try today is the Fabla Calatayud, hope I'm saying that right, Garnacha. The term Calatayud is in reference to its denomination d'origin, which when we get into later on the series, we'll get to the different wine regions of the world and reading a wine label. And especially in Europe, it's that denomination d'origin, where it's grown, where that wine's from. That tells you more of the story than a varietal. They'll just say Cab, Merlot, what have you. This particular wine is a 2015. It's 100% Garnacha. Calatayud is a region in the southwest of Oregon, which makes sense because that's where this grape has its origins. So let's give her a try. Little nose. I get sweetness already on the nose. You almost get a raspberry-ish kind of syrupy nose. Let's give her a try. Wow, there's a sweet punch right at the tip of your tongue. Not getting much acid on the side. Well, this is nice. Maybe a little white pepperish on the taste. I'm not going to say spicy, but you do get some of that. That's not bad. It's soft on the palate. Like I said earlier, real drinkable. It is used. I didn't say in my notes, but I did read where it was used in or references jug wines, table wines, and I can see that really working well in the sense that jug wines, whatever, kind of referred to, well, you're just eating a simple meal, you just want a simple glass of wine. And I can see where this would be used for that, but not in a bad context. Sometimes you just want a nice glass of wine with a meal. You don't want anything overpowering, and again, because it lacks acids and tannins, there's not much there. It's just got a nice little sweetness. Again, I get a little bit of that berry and just a slight hint of pepperish, but again, nothing great. It's not going to dominate my food. It will most likely complement a dish instead of necessarily contrast. So, not bad, a little glass of wine. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.